do for the show?
We're on the show.
Oh, we are on the show?
We're on the show.
Okay. I made this one up. It's a joke. Ready?
Yeah.
What do you call a Japanese prostitute who will bend in any position you want her to?
I have no idea.
A horigami. Clever?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, the fact that you're like super into origami right now, I feel like
It's very fitting.
most jokes are going to be centric around that. But yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
For our listeners,
It's not a dad. It's a dad joke style, but it's not a dad joke. Like it's a little bit more R-rated.
yeah, and
I like it.
And me and Cory have been contemplating merchandise for a long time. I've never pulled the trigger, but I am happy to announce that starting this week, if you visit hotticketweekly.com/store, you will actually see some new products. You will see I am selling a bunch of paper Ninja Stars. So if you want some handmade,
You are good at making them.
some handmade paper,
What was there, like 30 just littered around my house the other day?
paper shurikens. Just visit hotticketweekly.com/store. Purchase your limited edition paper shurikens.
Yeah. Hot ticket logo and all. Markered on.
Just marker or crayons.
Crayola markers. Yeah. And it was funny because, Kale's a child, so he instigates.
Yeah.
And he looked at me right in the eyes and he goes, I'm going to throw this at you. And I'm like, you throw that at me, you're in trouble. And he's like, he gave me that stare, that million-mile stare, like, I'm going to do it, bitch. And he threw it at me and it hit me in the forehead. And I literally grabbed him and put my arms underneath him, underneath the back of his head. And then I wrapped my legs around his legs and I just stretched him out.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I was like, I'm going to go further because he kept mouthing. I'm like, I'm going to go further. And I just kept stretching him out.
What do they call that when they
funny.
They bound your ankles and wrists to 4 horses?
Yeah. And they pull him. That was like a form of torture, but then it would just rip your limbs off.
Yeah, rip your limbs off.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know what I also found out? It was like, there are records from medieval times where they would torture methods and execution methods where they would chop people's heads off. But like when they chopped the heads off, the people were still talking. Like there's record of they chop their head off and the person's like praying and their head is just on the ground, but they're like still alive. Oof. Isn't that crazy?
Oof.
Yeah,
I mean,
because there's still oxygen in the brain. Yeah, it's like still functioning. This is like, it'd be like 10 seconds of someone like still praying. Isn't that crazy with their eyes like looking around and like seeing people? So like really you could see your own body. You could see your own dead body.
Ooh, that'd be weird, wouldn't
like
it?
Your head rolls and your body's over here and you're just looking at your own body.
And your body's in such a state of shock that you would not feel any pain.
I don't think you would at all. You got a clean blade that goes here. Now, the blade doesn't go through clean.
Then you got some issues.
That's going to hurt.
Oof.
That's going to hurt.
Makes my neck feel
if
funny.
You've got to do 2 chops. It's bad shape, man. Bad shape.
Oof. I didn't know that.
I told you I was going to get my hair cut this week. It's cut.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's short. It's I got that like 1994 Ellen DeGeneres vibe going on, which is interesting.
No, you got like that gnarly thing.
I look like I'm going to like roll up to a random park and start playing pickup softball. Or I'm going to walk into a CVS and immediately ask for the manager because they wouldn't honor the 2-for-1 deal on the Tresemme shampoo. That's what my haircut looks like. Yeah, it screams gender neutral.
That's okay.
I like
looks
it.
Good.
I got that Dollar General clip.
Hell yeah.
Pretty excited about it. It actually feels really good. Like it feels so much better. And obviously the lady who cuts my hair is great. And she was like, how much do you want? Like, because I've been in there a lot. My hair's grown so fucking fast this year. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because I'm taking better care of myself. Maybe it's something I'm eating. I don't know what's going on. I take more vitamins now. Maybe it's that. But I feel like my hair is growing so obnoxiously fast. So I've had to get it cut way more than I used to. And it was just to the point where it's just too long and it was starting to get unhealthy. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's at that point where it's just annoying. And I'm just pulling it back all the time. But I love having my hair down, but I don't, you know. I was out, you know what it was? It was out in the wind the other day. And it was just like blowing in front of my face. And I'm like, this is atrocious. I don't want to do this anymore. So I went back yesterday and I said, hey, give me that les cut. And she's like, say no more. So we chopped her off down to the neck, but I like it. It looks good. It feels so much better. Yeah, my curls are all tight again. It sounds super fucking homosexual right now, but I love it, man. It feels great. I feel like a new lady man.
Yep. And I think this is as good a time as any to now promote our second product of the episode that's starting tonight at 8:34 p.m. on the dot. If you visit hotticketweekly.com/store, you will be able to pick up how Cory has made his locks so luscious and full and tightly knit.
Yep.
We are releasing never before done, scientifically, chemistry, serious, crazy NASA shit, releasing a new shampoo and conditioner made out of tobacco.
That would be really cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Oh, speaking of releasing weird tobaccos.
Should do that.
I had some Haitian company reach out to me.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we're the only Haitian, whatever.
I saw, yeah. It's like,
oh, yeah, you saw the email. Because I thought it came directly in my email.
Don't forget don't forget Haiti. We're right next to Dominican.
Yeah. Don't forget this fucking turmoiled country. But it's got Haitian tobacco in the filler and the binder. And I was like, hey, send me some samples. I'm curious.
Try some Haitian shit.
Yeah, so those will be on the way. I'm pretty excited about that. They were at PCA. I don't forget the name of the company, although I just looked at it this morning. So, but I mean, I'll get on some Haitian tobacco.
Wouldn't that be dope?
Yeah. Hopefully it's not conflict free. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like people order like conflict free diamonds, meaning that like no little girl
No one
lost her
died.
arms.
Yeah.
I've always said this. I want someone working hard for the shit I buy. And if it means losing a limb, so be it.
I just hope they treat their tobacco better than they treat their trees.
Yeah, the lumber industry in Haiti, huh?
Oof.
Yeah, it's treacherous. Treacherous. We do have some cigar news to go through. This shouldn't take too long. There's only a few highlights this week. Highlight number 1 is Cigar Culture, Blackbird Cigar, partner for a new cigar. So if anybody reflects back to, I think it was probably this time last year, maybe a little bit sooner, Cigar Culture came out with their own branded cigar. That's Adrian Acosta. And this year they're doing a release via Blackbird, which I believe is called The Hawk. So it'll be released to retailers. It's actually released to retailers when you guys hear this past week. The cigar is one Vitola. It's a 6x54 box press Toro. I like a box press Toro, by the way. It's cool fucking Vitola. I actually have a lot of them in my lineup. Everything that I have, I've got quite a bit. Weirdly enough, a lot of box press Toros, which is strange. So I like the Vitola 54, a little large. A Brazilian Cubra wrapper, Mexican San Andreas binder, and fillers from Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic. So it is out now. I think the price point seems a little steep. It's boxes, 600 boxes of 14 cigars at $14 a cigar for a Blackbird cigar. Doesn't that seem steep?
For a Blackbird, yes.
It seems pretty rich.
Because they're all around 8.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know
8,
how
9.
they're going to get away with doing that. I mean, that's going to have to be some... this is a limited release, obviously, for Cigar Culture specifically, but God, it seems...
It's like both of us got to make money.
Yeah, it seems a little rich, man.
It's a little rich.
It seems a little rich. $14 a cigar. I'm like, God damn.
I think they missed their calling on the Vitola where they should have done more of like a bullet or like a Bellicoso style.
Yeah.
But instead just kind of slightly hook the cap so it looks like a talon. Or a beak of a hawk.
Yeah.
You know, they missed the mark.
Yeah.
You could really play on the bird thing.
Yeah, you could, but like, you know, you'd have to do that with every one of them.
Yeah. I would like to see a Blackbird cigar with tobacco wings.
If you and I were to do a Blackbird cigar, what bird would you want it to be?
The dodo.
The dodo bird?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sweet. I'm thinking of blue-footed booby.
Oh, I like that too.
Those are cool birds.
Yeah.
They're from the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, blue-footed, but they look cool as shit.
Yeah.
There's so many birds. I mean, think about how many birds be. Like, blackbird cigar will cease to exist by the time they ever get close to the end of the bird.
For sure.
So many birds.
They'll come extinct.
Yeah, well, like what time they did the macaw, right? That's the one. I actually have one of those. We should play around with that, the little QR code thing.
Oh yeah, we
like
totally
what I'm thinking we should do is just you laying down on the ground with your butt cheeks out, and I'll have the macaw like literally standing on your butt cheeks.
Oh yeah, walking
and then
on my
fly
butt.
away.
I wish it pecked, because then I'd have it peck my butthole.
That'd be hilarious. Or
what if it flew out of my butt?
listen, if you could put explicit material on social media, just have a boner and have it resting on your
Like
boner
a
like a tree branch. I do want to kind of play around it. I'm honestly not even curious about how the cigar tastes. I just want to play with the little QR thing.
Is there other funny, cool birds?
Oh yeah, there's tons of birds. The dodo bird was a good one. You have the parrot, of course, which would be a good bird. Like what? Oh, a cardinal for sure. I mean, that's what we should do as a cardinal for Ohio.
Cardinal.
We should do that. We'd just reach out to Jonas and say, hey, we want to do a cardinal release.
We want a Brazilian Matafita.
You know he would do that. Like we could easily get that done.
Or a Colorado. Something with a reddish hue.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
And maybe we can do like with the cardinal with the head. You know, like those little feathers that pokes out its head. So cute.
Yeah.
But maybe we do that at the cap, where they just like slightly like have a little bit come off of it.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Wait, that's a crow. What
Dude,
noise does a fucking cardinal make? Do you know? I don't think I've ever heard a cardinal make a noise.
Yeah. The only time I ever really see cardinals is when one male cardinal is trying to fuck a female cardinal.
Yeah,
it's the only time you see a cardinal around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like you never just see cardinals out and about. You could do I think a golden eagle would be cool.
Oh,
golden eagles are cool. You could do like literally black and gold interlaced band. That would be sweet. I think a golden eagle would be for me. I think that'd be the like one of the coolest ones you could do. But there's so many birds. I mean, it's insane how many bird species there are. They're kind of clever to do the whole bird thing because of just the association. I've always said like I respect the marketing aspects of what Blackbird does and the consistency in what they do. I don't think they have the best cigars on the market, but I do like the consistency of the branding. It's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. Let's move on from the whole bird talk. Oh, the Plasencia 149 is out.
About time.
I've said this because I've always said the Plasencia 146 is like, to me, is probably one, I'd say the best Plasencia cigar specifically for the money. Yeah. That really doesn't get much attention. You know, Alma Fuerte always gets a lot, and Alma del Fuego, like those series of cigars typically get the most attention, but I'm telling you, the Plasencia 146 is absolutely phenomenal. And now you have the new Plasencia 149, the Plasencia 149 that came out, and actually a pretty good price point. I mean, listen, we just talked about the Blackbird cigar culture cigar that's coming out at $14 per cigar. The Plasencia as an organization is known to have more expensive cigars. $14.50 is the most you're going to pay for a 6x52.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if the Plasencia 146. I felt like it was around 14 or 15 bucks.
They're about the same price point.
Yeah.
They're about the same price point. Which I thought the 146 was such a good cigar. I'm really, really excited. This is a cigar that I think would be worthy of reviewing on the podcast.
For sure.
I think this is one that I got to get my hands on. I'm pretty sure B&G's just got these in stock.
They did.
I think I'm going to have to probably run down there and grab a few because I think this one would be really awesome. So, it's a Honduran Puro. What? Plasencia did a Honduran fucking Puro?
Yep.
Holy shit nuggets.
Yep.
Oh, this makes me even more excited.
Which makes it different than the other.
Oh, so fucking different. Dude, a Honduran Puro. Oh, the excitement. The excitement.
What does Cosecha mean?
I have no idea, but I really like it.
Doesn't it sound like the name of like a Porsche?
A Cosecha?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. Porsche would definitely make a car called the Cosecha.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I did not realize it was a Honduran Puro. Well, that makes me excited. Now here's my thing about Honduran Puros. Easy to fuck up, but also you can make them really good. I've always said this before. The Euroa family makes the best Honduran Puros by far. It's like they have the best tobacco that they use. Absolutely incredible. So for this one, I'm like even more curious because it's Plasencia struggles to make a bad cigar.
They really do.
Like their cigars, actually, I would argue that natural, the Alma Fuerte natural, the one with the green band that came out, is probably one of the worst.
Yeah, and that's still not a bad cigar.
And it's not a terrible cigar. It's just not the best,
pricey,
especially for the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this 149, I'm even more intrigued about it because it is a Honduran pure. I think that's fantastic. Oh God, I cannot wait to try this. I may actually run down and grab one later. Damn. Hell yes. Very, very cool. So it comes in 3 different vitolas of 4 3/4 by 60. So a fat little donger, $12 per cigar. A 5x52, which is going to be a Robusto size at $13, and a 6x52, which is going to be the Toro at $14.50. I think that's reasonable, honestly, all things considered, for Plasencia. Not too far off the mark from where they're usually at. So
makes a lot of Plasencia to me.
Last but not least, PARTAGAS Decades 2021 arrives at stores. I don't know that I had the last year's release. I actually saw this at a humidor I went to last week and decided not to. Did I buy that last
I made
one?
you buy one.
That's right. That's right. And I like that cigar.
Yeah.
That was a great cigar. So now you have the 2021 release. I should have picked this up last week. 6x52 Toro size. The problem is the price point, dude. $18 for one of these cigars.
Again.
I think when I saw it was like $20.
Oof.
At the shop that I went to, which is right around here. God, yeah, I struggle with that. Cameroon seed wrapper, grown in Bahia, Brazil. Connecticut Habano binder, and a variety of fillers, Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers.
Esteli, Jalapa, and Ometepe.
So it's got a lot. She's got a lot of shit packaged in here. Oh, here we go. Each cigar is packaged in a coffin case. God damn it! That's why I'm fucking paying $18 for the cigars.
It's a $10 cigar and a $10 box.
God damn! I fucking hate. I hate when brands do that. I hate it so much. I fucking hate it so much. Who gives a shit? I do not care what a cigar comes in. I don't want to see it in a fucking coffin box. I don't want to see it in this 90s packaging. I don't even need fucking cellophane on it. Put it in a simple fucking box. You know, it's actually one of the things that I like when I got those Davidoffs earlier this week. I got those Colorado Claros, right? One of my all-time favorites. Got a killer deal on these cigars. I mean, dude, like way less than those Blackbirds.
Yeah.
Just insane. Comes in a simple box. A simple wooden box. I don't need anything crazy. I don't want anything that's just fucking blown out. I want something simple. Give me something simple. As long as it's protected and it can make it to me, I don't care about the box. So fuck the coffin cases. No one cares. Give me what you have priced an $18 cigar. Get it for $13, $14. Forget the fucking case and let's move on.
That is why when the next donger comes out, whenever they may be, we are not shipping them in traditional cellophane, folks. No, you're getting our exclusive release in a Ziploc baggie.
That would be actually pretty cool. Just as simple as that. Literally with the Ziploc logo and everything. A simple fucking Ziploc. It's actually not a bad idea.
No, it'll breathe a little.
But we're gonna make
cellophane.
Our releases are gonna be the most elementary thing on earth.
Pretty much.
They're gonna be super elementary. Guy, we do need to get another donger out there, don't we, though?
We do.
We do. We got some stuff coming up. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry at all.
Maybe some New Year's presents for y'all. All right. This is going to be an interesting episode. And I want to make the distinction. So we do the overrated, underrated episodes, of which we talk about all things about a particular brand.
Yeah.
This episode, I wanted to get an understanding of the general cigar enthusiast population on what they felt were overly hyped cigars. Ones that come out that garner a lot of attention, but certainly disappoint and are more annoying around their hype. Yeah. They may be good cigars, but are they overhyped? Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of overhyped cigars in the industry. There's certainly a lot of underhyped cigars, but I like those because they're the hidden gems. They're the crown jewels that you don't know about. Those are the ones that I love smoking that I never tell anyone about. But there's definitely a lot of cigars that have hit the marketplace over a ton of years, 30 years, that have been arguably very overhyped. So we're going to get into those cigars. It's the whole point of this episode. And we got some feedback from our audience. But before we do so, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back, you guys, in a few minutes. We're going to hear from our show sponsor. Chris, I'm going to ask you a question. Why do you like My Cigar Pack? My Cigar Pack has been a sponsor of the show for quite some time, but why do you like My Cigar Pack over the other packs?
Because I don't have to think about it. Listen, the monotony of making decisions for the safety and well-being of your family, you know, making hard decisions at work, deciding on who's going to get your boat in your will, you know, you don't want to have to think. Like, the last thing you want to do at the end of the day when you're chilling and you just want to enjoy cigars is to think about what the fuck you're going to pick, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes I just want someone to pick for me.
Yeah.
And trust that they impart some sage wisdom on what they know I like and what they know I'll appreciate. So that I don't have to worry that I'm getting shit, you know? My Cigar Pack kind of does that, right?
They do that. It's curated packs, which are awesome. And I have to say, the November pack that we got, right up our alley.
Yeah.
A ton of good cigars, cigars from the most premier manufacturers, including the Factory Direct program cigars, which are amazing.
Like when your wife asks you, hey, honey, what would you like for, or she doesn't ask you. She's like, hey, honey, I'm making spaghetti and meatballs tonight. And you go, holy fuck, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. How did you know?
And she's like, I didn't even have to ask because I know you too well.
Yep.
And you're like, fuck, I didn't even have to answer. I didn't even have to make a decision. You made it for me. For once, I can be the dependent.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah, I do feel that it's My Cigar Pack is almost like they're always looking through your window. They know every move that you're going to make.
They're our cigar
all
daddy.
Your fucking desires.
They're cigar daddy. They know best.
Yeah, so you got to check them out, www.mycigarpack.com. And if you enter promo code HOT10 at checkout, you'll get $10 off your first pack. Again, that's www.mycigarpack.com, promo code HOT10 at checkout for $10 off your first pack. All right, we're back. Here we go.
What a great ad by Pringles.
I needed to say this. I actually forgot to mention it earlier, but I think it's worth mentioning. I didn't want to say anything the other night because I didn't want to upset Dad.
Yeah. Well, tell me.
Yeah. So
his meatloaf sucked?
No, the flavor of the meatloaf was great.
The cooking method was terrible.
Here's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So Dad I remember him telling me specifically, he goes, because when he came here, I said, why does it look so wet?
Yeah.
I was like, why is there so much moisture?
Yeah.
And he's like, son, it's your grandma's recipe. Now, first of all, you ever remember Grandma cooking for us?
Never.
When did you ever remember Grandma cooking for us?
Just before we continue, you think we're far enough into the episode that Dad's already fallen asleep and he's not going to listen to the rest?
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Continue.
We're way past that point. So he goes, it's Grandma's recipe. And I go, Grandma never fucking cooked.
Never.
Grandma has a recipe. First of all, Grandma has a recipe.
I only remember fast food.
Yeah, that's it. I have no recollection of Grandma when I was younger ever cooking anything. So he goes, just use Grandma's recipe. And I said, well, what's in it? And he was going through it. And the last part was, he goes, well, he's like, the recipe says to add a 1/4 inch of water in the bottom of the pan. A 1/4 inch of water.
You know how much water
that's a lot of water for a meatloaf.
That's a swimming pool.
That's a swimming pool of
for your
meatloaf water. And I go, I literally go, Dad, I don't think that's right. And he goes, that's what the recipe said. Dude, you know how Dad is. That's what the recipe says. And I'm like, God, bitch, you got to go to Google or some shit and figure out a better meatloaf for us. Now, here's the thing. So I didn't challenge him at the time because I knew what the recipe was supposed to be.
Like water in a separate container sitting out from the meat.
That is what you're supposed to do.
Oh, fuck.
So if you are baking and or you're putting something like a meatloaf on a smoker, it continues to impart moisture throughout the whole capsuled area, but you don't put it in the bottom of the meat because your meat gets nasty and soggy. Plus, and I already told Dad this before, if it's 80-20 and the fat content is relatively high, you don't need another induction moisture method.
No.
Because when the fat renders down, it keeps the meat moist, right? Which is what you want. So he just added water.
He basically added a full cup of water inside of a fucking
to the fucking meatloaf. Yeah. So the bottom part of the meatloaf was soggy and not great. the top part was better because all the moisture stayed at the bottom. So you could eat the top and it was pretty good, but the bottoms was not. So
it fell apart and it was
very.
It was like a gelatin exterior in parts,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what the
Yeah, it was not. So Dad's never bringing
Allowed to.
anything over here again. He's not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
And next time, what I'm going to do, so
Make a
2 weeks from
meatloaf?
now, I'm going to make my own meatloaf, my own method of meatloaf that
yeah.
I'm going to smoke. That's going to be done correctly.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some good meatloaf. We're going to
Yeah.
have real meatloaf.
Yeah. And I'll make a meat boat.
Not this.
Like when I make it, it's gonna be floating in the water. So much water. It's a meat boat.
Dad's was floating in
Yeah.
water.
Dad's was a meat boat.
It was like you know, a human being floating in a deprivation chamber.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. I'm
Totally.
like, why is the meatloaf jiggling inside the pan? Yeah, it's not good. Not a good cooking method. But anyway, so I wanted to tell you that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to disappoint him because
Baked potatoes were great.
Dad tries. Well,
He
I did
does.
those. All right. So that's par for the course. He tries.
He does.
And we were talking about it the other night too, about him before you came over, about his spaghettis and peas. Spaghetti
Yeah.
and peas.
I
said, I've only ever known to have spaghetti with peas. To me, most people would think that's crazy. Why are you having spaghetti with peas?
it's quite delish.
It is very good, but he's the only person
He's the only
that ever
person
did
that- yeah.
spaghetti with peas. Yeah, it's just yeah.
I did it.
God bless him, he tries.
I remember us because it was always separate, right? It was spaghetti and meat sauce, and then peas on the side.
And then peas, but you'd mix.
But then
them.
we'd mix them,
Yeah,
and then it became a thing. Like when we would go over to Dad's house, it was
and
like,
then like that Texas toast and mop up all
just
your
put
pea
it all on
juice and-
top.
yeah.
Put it all on top.
which was actually really good.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad, but it's like who the fuck does spaghetti and peas? No one does that. No, there's no other family that does spaghetti and peas. That was Dad's thing because, I mean, here's the thing. Again, God bless him for trying. Dad's good at like crock pot meals, like he can do a chili.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. You can't fuck up a chili. If you fuck up a chili, give up.
They all get soggy. Everything blends together.
Just melts together. That it's easy cooking. And crock pot cooking's easy
but
cooking.
any meal that requires a certain temperature, ideal temperature, or moisture, don't give it to Dad.
No, definitely not. Dad, I said this, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast before, but Dad bakes steaks.
He bakes steaks.
Yeah, so let that sink in real quick. And let's give a moment of silence. Let it sink in.
Yeah. Listen, you
Yeah.
couldn't even chew into it. Like when you cut into a steak
It's like jerky.
with a steak knife, you really have to saw at it.
Yeah.
And then you have to make the pieces so small that you can actually start to break them up in your mouth.
Yeah, because it would kill your jaw.
Your jaw would ache.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to bake steaks.
The flavor was good to a certain point,
No,
but
not
we
even
had
then.
to cover it in A1 sauce at the time.
Yeah.
Just to, like,
Yeah,
eat it.
so disgusting. Like the worst thing you could ever do to a steak is bake it, and this is how terrible. What did Dad say? He was like, "What are we gonna bring? What should I bring over for Thanksgiving?" And I still haven't said anything. I'd just be like, "Listen,
Chips and dip.
anything that you can just buy and put on a table, because if it requires you making it, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like let's just."
Yeah.
It's just you're out. You're out. All right, let's get into this. So solicited some feedback from a collective audience about overhyped cigars. I want to get into some of these. We talked about this particular cigar last week, and I think interestingly enough, how it continues to have find a place in these episodes that we do, and that is the Opus X. I think the episode Opus X on here is arguably, given the feedback, one of the most overhyped cigars in terms of popular opinion. Do you agree or do you not agree? I feel like we've talked about the Opus X a lot, and we can talk about whether or not it's worth the money, where it's value, but is it actually a very overhyped cigar? I feel like it's not. I don't feel like it's overly hyped. I think there's a subset of people, and there's part of the culture in cigars that appreciates the Opus X. It's a very fine line. You know what it's like? It's like political spectrum. You're Opus X smokers and you're non-Opus X smokers. You're liberals and you're conservatives. I think there's no middle ground really for the Opus.
It's money. Here's what I'll say to all of you on here that's touting Opus X is overrated. I'm sure you're also the same type of people that say, I would never fucking own a Ferrari. I never want a Ferrari. They're fucking ugly cars. But the point of the matter is, you'll never be able to afford a Ferrari. So what do? You bash it.
Yeah.
I would never own one anyway.
Yeah.
They're fucking ugly ass cars.
Yeah.
Goddamn Italians.
Yeah.
Probably half Japanese, Chinese.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I wonder, are you just hating because you can't afford it?
Oh, Chris calling out you being poor.
Listen, I know you
Damn.
guys like your Cigars International.
Damn. Chris coming hot with the poor. He's like, y'all a bunch of poor bitches.
And I'm right there with you. Guess who's also poor? This guy. You know what I had for dinner last night? Ramen noodles. You know what I had for lunch yesterday?
Meatloaf.
Ramen noodles. Do you know what I had for breakfast? Leftover ramen noodles from the night before. But you know how I afford my cigars? By eating ramen noodles.
Yep, that's what you got to do.
You want your
Conservative
OPUS? Eat some ramen noodles.
So you think it's a thing and people are just jealous?
They jelly, man. They jelly.
Yeah. Well, there's four people had given. So I'm going to call out those 4 people. Chris thinks that you guys are jealous because you a bunch of poor folk. J-Rod87, Rocky Del Davis, who is a comedian friend. Obviously, Rocky Del Davis, you're poor as shit. Balrog dude.
Wait, what was the other one?
Balrog dude. One of the ones at the bottom.
Oh, Balrog dude.
Yeah, and bourbon sipping. Balrog dude.
Maybe Balrog from Street Fighter.
Is there a Balrog in Street Fighter?
Sure is.
Maybe that's who it is. I always thought reading people's names, like their Instagram handles, is so challenging for me. Like I read it a different way than what it really is, and they're like, "Hey, no, it means this thing," and I'm like, fuck. Well, it reads differently, so change it. So Opus X, I don't agree with you that saying specifically it's for the rich and not for the poor. But I don't also feel that it's super overhyped.
Listen,
I don't know. It's weird. I think there's a line drawn in terms of whether you are a fan or you're not a fan. I think that's what it comes down to.
It's even for like people that like somehow manage to have a 70-inch fucking brand new Samsung OLED TV, but live in subsidized housing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can pull it off.
Yeah.
You just got to live well under your means.
Yeah.
To afford them.
Yeah. That makes sense. This brand, that was interesting because it came up twice in the feedback, and that's FIFRO TEGO, which is, of course, kind of the offshoot of Nat Sherman.
Oh,
so Michael Herklotz ended up buying out the rights to Nat Sherman International, created FIFRO TEGO, and of course, you're seeing a resurgence of some of the brands underneath that lineup, like the Timeless series, and then you're seeing new stuff from FIFRO TEGO, which I have not had, so I can't really speak intelligent. Remember, we got some feedback from Leaf Sex Cigars last time. So FIFRO TEGO as a brand came up in the feedback, and then I don't know the other one, Enter the fog. I don't know what that one is, but FIFRO TEGO came up twice. I can't really speak too much to the hype because I haven't had the cigars. I can say from a Nat Sherman perspective, there's some good Nat Sherman cigars, there's some not good Nat Sherman cigars. I can say this, I admire the fuck out of Michael Herklotz. So I think for me, hyped is to be determined. Yeah. Because I haven't had the cigars, but I do think it's interesting that brand in particular came up twice in terms of overhype. So I think that the cigars have just recently hit the shelves. So I think we'll understand probably in the next months, or like the next few months into like 6 months from now, really where they stand as an organization, whether people are really enjoying their cigars or not, or whether or not the feedback is that they are entirely overhyped. We'll see.
What do you think FIFRO TEGO means?
I don't know.
Maybe like fiery tag. Fire tag.
Fire tag?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
What does Fury mean? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously it means something.
Maybe something to do with Guy Fieri.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah?
Yeah, it could be.
And maybe Tego is Spanish for taco?
Yeah, could be. Yeah. What if it just means, it could mean fiery taco?
Could be fiery taco.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be dope.
Is FIFRO TEGO Italian?
I don't know. But it sounds like a Mexican dish.
Hold on. Say it Italian, then say it Mexican. FIFRO TEGO.
Yeah, I can see it.
Try
I can
Mexican.
see it. Maybe say it like with a mafia tone, like Pirutega.
Periotego. Try Spanish.
Pirutega.
Periotego.
Diego.
It could be both.
Could be.
Could be both. Could be Spanish. Could be Italian. Could you do it with a French accent?
Do you think
French?
Spanish people are just Italians' deranged cousins?
I mean, it's all derivative Latin, so they're all a hodgepodge mess of people.
Yeah.
Could you try French? Let's try French.
Oh.
How would you do French Tego?
Somehow you got to throw a bunch of R's in there.
Well, there's an R in there, so let's use it.
Something.
I think French is out. Could you do German?
Ooh.
What about Russian? Could we do a Russian Tego? Tego. No, that's still.
Yeah, that's a tough one too.
Yeah, it's tough. So we're thinking Spanish or Italian.
Yeah, probably.
It's probably the way that's going. I don't know. I think the verdict's out. Or the verdict isn't out yet. I think it's still to be determined whether or not this is going to be, the brand as a whole. It's just way too early to say overhyped. I just don't think there's enough critical thinking about it at this point because I don't think people have smoked them enough to really give a good consensus on it.
It could be Jewish too.
Could be Jewish. I think this one is interesting, and that's the Andalusian Bowl came up multiple times. The old Andy Bowl. It's tough. I knew that was going to be your response. I knew you were going to have that. I knew you were going to have that response. Now, but you think about it. So I can't. Here's the thing. This is not whether it's a good cigar or not a good cigar. It's whether or not it's overhyped. Andalusian Bowl, #1 cigar aficionado, years back. It still maintains that sort of like garnered hype in the industry. Years later, it's like everybody looks for the Andalusian Bowl. And it's almost like LFD at this point is intentionally just shorting them to keep the fucking hype train going. So let's take out contextually, let's remove whether or not it's a good cigar. Because we know you think it's a good cigar.
Yeah.
Is it an overhyped cigar?
It is for the unfortunate. It is for the unfortunate. Think about it. All this has to do with is people that don't have them and want them.
You think so?
Yeah.
So you think so V Cut Everything, a friend of the show, and then you have Chip and Lonsdale's says
it's VQ very thing though, by the way.
Yeah, sure. And then you have Andy Bowl, change my mind. So you're suggesting that these folks are only saying it because they can't get them.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
Interesting. Be interesting to hear their feedback on your perspective.
You're also the same guy that won't ask for a promotion from your job for working at a place for 15 plus years, working your ass off, making sacrifices for the company, but no one appreciates you. But you won't make the hard decisions to ask for a raise that you well deserve. So what do? You stew in your corner, you bicker, you complain. It's everybody else's fault. Fuck them, you say. No.
Fuck them, you say.
It's you. The only reason you don't like it is because of you. Because you wanted it, but didn't act to get it.
So what does that have to do in terms of the Andalusian Bowl?
Fucking go out there and get it.
Go out there and get the thing that you can't get. Go get the thing that they don't have.
You want it that bad, you can sit and bitch about it. But if you want it that bad,
you can find
tell all of you were bitching about it because you don't have it and you want it. It'd be different if you bitched about it but didn't want it. But that's not what this is about, because people that don't want something won't bitch about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you bitching about it means you want it. So go out there and get it. Go out there. Listen, you want it? I'm sure there's someone you know that has one. If they don't have it,
you can figure out where to get them.
Go to the Dominican and knock at LFD's doors. Hey, I want the ball. Now you're gonna have to swindle your way a little bit. They are protected by armed military police. So
yeah, they are. They definitely are.
But now's your chance to actually find those people on Facebook or Instagram and become buddies with them. Hey, I'm thinking about doing a trip to the Dominican. Are you working this weekend? Be like, oh, see, and then You're like, well, I'm actually doing a trip. Maybe I can meet you at the front door of LFD. We'll hang out. And then you go, you know, taking your little scooter. You can rent a scooter.
You can rent a car too.
Or a car. You can travel to LFD's front doors, meet up with, well, I don't know. We'll call him Sammy. And you can hang out and like,
Sammy the Bull.
Do you think we can like get in there? See. Because now you're best friends with him. I mean, you flew 2,000 miles to hang out with someone you barely know, but you're friends. So he lets you in. You visit the floor, the factory floor. You will actually notice there is an LFD Andalusian bull in a piece of bulletproof glass sitting in the middle of their factory floor. All you need is a jewelry thief. So you got to be friends with a jewelry thief too. But then you got to hire someone. Maybe you become buddies with them on Instagram or TikTok. But you can basically, then you're like, it's your turn now. And then he sneaks up and he like does the like glass cutting thing. And you take the Andalusian bull and you book it back to the States before anybody notices.
Yeah, you make that sound like a jewelry heist, and we're talking about a cigar. Now, I want you to reflect on a few years ago when we were actually in the Dominican Republic and we were hanging out with the people from LFD. And what did they tell you?
They happen to say, not even we get any.
Yeah, they're like, we don't even have the bull. Like, we work at the factory that produces them, and we don't even have them.
No.
Yeah, so there you go. So that 2 minutes of you concocting this crazy plan to get the Andalusian, the people at the factory can't get them.
That's true. But I do know someone who does. And if you still need to get in, I'll split it with you. So reach out to in a DM.
I do have some.
We'll do a heist. But we got to split
I do have some, but I smoke them sparingly for a few reasons. One, they are challenging to get. That's number one. But two, they smoke for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. They do. It's a big fucking cigar.
I shared it with a group of 5 people and it still took us 2+ hours.
Yeah, they're just ridiculous.
Before COVID.
Yeah, of course. I like this as maybe an ending topic on the brand. And Pab Fiction says, all Gurkha.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure we've talked about Gurkha on overrated, underrated, so we don't need to get into that. But in terms of them being overhyped,
who's better qualified?
I mean, without question.
Yeah. If
I were to build and construct a resume around overhyped cigars, well, surely Gurkha would be on the list.
Gurkha's like the Kanye West of cigar industry. Like, he's talented in some ways, but he's still fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for like a Gurkha to like announce they're like running for president or some shit.
I think Gurkha to me is like a very interesting. It's a very like what they do and how they position themselves. It's almost like we know who we are and we don't give a fuck.
Right.
It's like Nickelback.
Right.
I think maybe I've said that before. They're the Nickelback of the cigar industry. It's like we know everyone hates us, but we're still going to put out these tunes and people are going to listen to them.
Yeah.
It's almost like now you just wait for them to come out with some shitty stuff just so you could fucking bash them. You know what I mean? Like they're around just so we can hate them.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Actually, I didn't want to end on that one. I want to end up because Leaf Cigars named a few brands, Nova being one in there. Interesting topic conversation around Nova. I'm not going to get into that one now, but don't disagree. But El Septimo's in here. We talked about El Septimo on overrated, underrated. And this is probably my new Gurkha.
You think?
El Septimo is my new Gurkha.
Brand.
I think the septic. I think what they do, I'm so challenged by not only what they do, but their entry into the United States cigar industry.
Yes.
There isn't a brand that I hate more at this time, given knowing what I know.
And I know some bucks? What were they?
Dude, they're so expensive, but they came out with a new series that's not as expensive, but still kind of expensive. But there's new reasons, some light shed actually by a listener of ours, a friend of the show, actually shed some light on the brand overall. Yeah. And gave me some juicy details as far as like some of the things that are going on there, and it makes me hate them even more. So I already thought they were just a really kind of nasty, like they're the kind of brand that's like, hey, we are okay with finding every Instagram handle that is sexy cigar girl or cigar beauty this or whatever, putting a cigar in their hands, because they literally make no bones about, like, we are in this for the luxury lifestyle piece of it and the sexual iconic nature of what cigars could be. Like, that's their lane. Their lane is that. They give no shits about creating a good cigar, because I haven't had one from them I was actually like, that's a decent cigar. They're disgusting.
There are fewer of those
They're
types.
really gross.
I feel like there's fewer of those type of people than us now.
I mean, you would think.
Isn't that the vibe you get? Like,
oh, for sure. Well, I would say actual enthusiasts. Yeah. But if you are,
there's way less of the
if you are somebody that owns a really nice boat and you're sailing off into the Caribbean and you want to get a box of cigars for your friends,
expensive
you're
shit.
buying that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like that. And I think that's the market of which they want to serve. I just think they're gross and nasty. Not favorable cigars. So I can't even say they're overhyped, because there isn't a little hype around them in the industry.
No, I don't even really see.
I don't think a lot of people hear about them. They're really just now making a splash in the U.S. market. But it'd be interesting to have this conversation like 6 months from now. Like, where are they going to be in 6 months? And then do we kind of reassess this and go, are they overhyped? Or a lot of, I just don't hear a lot about them. I don't see a lot of people buying them. I don't see them in humidors. I know they're really after PCA. They're making a hard push. They hired someone for U.S. sales and distribution. And I just don't know what kind of impact they're going to make in the cigar industry as a whole over the next, the course of the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I will be. I'm very curious to see how that rolls.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I've had their cigars and yikes. I think there was one where I was like, this is manageable. And then the rest, they're like huge, thick Vitola cigars. I mean, talking like 60 ring gauges, like one of the smallest you could get at the time.
What?
Dude, there's literally one. I think I have it in, I'm pretty sure I have one over there called like the Colosso.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's like with a K. It's got like a blue and orange, or a blue and gold band. Dude, they're just, they're really beautifully made. I got to give them that. Like, they look, construction wise, even those fat Vitolas are really nice. The tobacco looks amazing, but they are not good. I'm interested to see, like, okay, how much more are they going to interact with, with some of the ladies in the industry to try to push this whole luxury lifestyle thing. Because obviously those two things are very closely associated in the eyes of the cigar industry. Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day, though, and I was going to save this remark for the next part 2 of the influencer podcast that we're going to do, which I am lining up currently. But you know what? I am going to save it for then. I had a remark to make. Yeah. But I think it's more appropriate if I save it for then.
That's fair.
What were you going to say?
I was thinking if El Septimo is really playing this luxury sexism role, like sex sells, what you should do with these big-ass ring gauges is just call it the blowjob and then only encourage smokers to do a punch cut so it really looks like a dick. And then you can do the same for the girls. Maybe call it cuntilingus or something like that, but only V-cut it. So it looks like a vagina.
Yeah, like come pre-cut or come punch.
Yeah. And make sure it's really fuzzy.
Could you make a cigar that has like a set of balls on it?
I would imagine so.
Could you roll tobacco where you could just do 2 nuts at the end?
I would imagine so.
That'd be kind of cool.
Big, thick, veiny donger with a set of nuts.
That should be the next donger release for sure.
And if you could light that at the same time, maybe you could do it with like a Calibra style where you just somehow rope it to the bottom of it.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
A cigar with a set of nuts on it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. It would be.
That's
all I want to get into. I'm going to save the rest of them for a part 2. We got through a lot of them, but of course, I think people are like, why didn't you talk about this brand?
I'm sure. Yeah.
We'll save it for next time. But that'll conclude this episode. It's a fun episode. It's a quickie, right? For like barely 50 minutes.
That's what El Septimo said about their company.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. That'll conclude episode 220. This is 220 episodes in. Look at us back in person. It's kind of crazy. It's nostalgic to a degree.
It is a little, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like we're 15 again when we started this show.
We started 4.5 years ago.
That's 15.
That's crazy. And hit a plateau at about 15 listeners. So,
Yep.
But we're here for you guys.
Yeah.
We're here for all of you. All right. That'll conclude episode 220. We'll be back at you. Jesus Christ. Why am I fucking cannot speak today?
It's okay. It's like it's an off day, you know?
Well, it's a Saturday, which I'm not used to.
Saturday, it's an off day. It's
never record on a Saturday.
Kind of still the morning.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Let me try this again. Ready? This will conclude episode 220. Be back at you next week with episode 221. See you, everyone.